How's it going, folks? So today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the new full-length debut album from Fellowship. The name of this album is the Saberlight Chronicles, and the first thing I'll say is, we've all had a lot of expectations of what to expect from this album, ever since they released their EP, and multiple singles. We've all had this idea in our head of what the full-length album would, have to offer and what it would sound like. And like I said, our expectations have been high. And all I'm going to say is those expectations are met. And what you've been expecting and what you've thought it's going to sound like, that's what you're going to get. Plus a few little extra surprises. But y'all know, before I get into that nitty gritty, let's check out the cover. So boom, there it is. Take a look at that. What a cool looking cover. I really like it. It looks like the ground, or the earth, or whatever is exploding. There's rocks and whatnot everywhere. There's like this energy source in the middle, it looks like, and all of this earth and rock is kind of exploding out from it or radiating around it. And there's these two figures within it. Looks like they're also being impacted by this energy, this explosion, or what have you. Looks really cool. If you're looking through some CDs and you see this cover, it's like, wow, this looks really neat. It's eye-catching. So from the aesthetic perspective, I really dig it. It's relatively simple, but at the same time, it's intriguing. And like I said, it's eye-catching. The colors and all that, and the way Fellowship, the text is designed, and you see the Saberlight Chronicles down there at the bottom. It definitely pulls you in. It definitely makes you curious. As far as giving you an idea of what to expect on the album, yeah, I think it does a good job. I really do. I feel like you look at a cover like this and you expect some kind of, maybe fantasy power metal type of deal. But, once you've listened to the album, I feel like the cover takes on a different persona. So from that aspect as well, I think it really conveys, uh, again, what awaits you once you start listening to it. So if you're at the CD shop, you're scrolling through, you're looking at stuff, you see this cover, you're like, this looks like some fantasy power metal, especially with the name Fellowship and the Saberlight Chronicles. You won't really be wrong whatsoever. But then again, once you've heard the album, you kind of look at it again, and it gives a new meaning, so to speak. So from aesthetically and from conveying what to expect on the album, I give it an A plus on both fronts. But anywho, let's talk about the album itself. This bad boy's got 12 tracks on there, comes in at about an hour. And yeah, it definitely is fantasy power metal, with a magical kind of aspect to it. You get some, you know, you get a lot more guitar centric and guitar heavy stuff on there than, I guess I should have expected it, based off of the more recent singles. But boy, is there some shredding on the guitar. It is just really wild. And on top of that, you get these little, magical flavors. It's done with, keyboards, with some little bit of symphonic elements here and there that just gives it that little extra oomph, if you will, that little extra personality, that sets it apart from some other power metal styles, or some other, in the genre. You have other fantasy power metal, but this really does carve its own little corner of the style, and makes it instantly recognizable to the listener if you hear a Fellowship song. So I really, really dig it for that because again, the power metal genre, there's all different kinds, and it can be difficult to kind of carve your own niche in there, but they have done that. So again, you get some really, really great guitar work, some insane shredding going on with little flavors of keyboard or just these little magical little tunes that kind of are the top layer that kind of just sprinkle a little extra magic on top and give it that whimsical flair. So yeah, speaking of the guitar, just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Even when it's shredding, it still contains that magical essence to it. The bass and the drums and all of that stuff is just top notch. The musicianship here really is, it's really tight, it's mixed well, and it just sounds great. And the vocals, when you throw that into the mix, he, first of all, his range is really, really great, and he complements the music super well. And there's also this, again, with everything else that you hear on this album, with the music, the instruments and all of that, there's this uplifting spirit, a positive spirit. There's just a spirit to it, a joyous kind of spirit, a magical essence. And, even in the vocals, there's this passion, there's this just positive sense to the vocals that just really completes the whole package. You're going to get sweeping and soaring sounds feelings throughout. You get moments that are more, within the music, and again, just the guitar shredding, and kind of taking you away, carrying you through. Other times there's this magical sense through the keyboards or symphonic elements that really kind of just take you away. It just, from start to finish, you become, uh, enraptured with this sound. You become part of this world, these Saberlight Chronicles, if you will, and it just conjures images, it conjures feelings, and like I said, they take you into their world, and you're there all the way through to the end. So it's just that kind of power metal where it, if you're more on the guitar centric side of power metal, there's a lot to love here. If you're more on the fantasy aspect, the fantastical, the magical, you want to be taken to a different world, that's here as well. So it just it really sounds great. Again, the production value is really, really solid here. Um, and yeah, it just, it's hard to explain unless you've heard it or if you've listened to Fellowship before. But like I said, they've really created their own sound. So if you hear a Fellowship song that comes on, amidst, maybe you have a playlist or whatnot, this is a Fellowship song. So I commend them immensely for that. It starts out with Until the Fires Die, which this was a single that they released. It really gets the ball rolling, really lets you know what you're in for. Track 2, Atlas. This song was interesting because it took me back a little bit. There's a little bit more of an edge to this song, a little bit more, I don't want to say of a darker tone, but there's definitely a little bit more of an edge here that it's really nice. It really kind of uh, let you know that there's going to be variety here. It's not just going to be the same kind of happy-go-lucky song one after the other. And not to say that the songs are happy-go-lucky. They certainly deal with a lot of um, uh, serious topics, like mental health, mental issues, and uh, the most prevailing theme, I would say, is that of self worth, but it's all done under the guise of this fantastical adventure and promoting these positive feelings. And again, I just commend them for that because the joy is felt throughout the instruments, the music, and the vocals and the lyrics. It's just all there. Um, and then you get Glory Days, which was released as a single, a while back. And that's another thing that I love that they've done is they've interwoven their previous EP, their previous singles into this new full-length album, which is really, really cool because those songs are beloved and I love them. So the fact that they were able to include them in this is just awesome. You got Glory Days in track 3. Like I said, track 4, Oak and Ash, which was the most recent single released. Um, and then track 6, which is an interesting one for me, is called Scars and Shrapnel Wounds. It kind of sounded like a pop punk or almost even emo type of song that I would have listened to back in the mid 2000s, back when I was in high school. Bands kind of like Brand New or even Taking Back Sunday, but given that power metal treatment. So it was just really cool. Even the name of the song, Scars and Shrapnel Wounds, kind of has that sound. So it was just a really, really neat song that, again, just kind of took me back in a sense, back to my high school days, back to the early to mid 2000s. But with that power metal treatment, Seven's The Hours of Wintertime, which this was on their original EP. And if you haven't heard this song before, it really, really is incredible stuff. I feel like, especially now that it's getting maybe a wider audience, this is going to become a classic for the band. Um, Track 8, you got Glint. Track 9, The Saint Beyond the River, was really cool because it almost has an Irish flair to it, an Irish, uh, I don't want to say like an Irish pub song or necessarily an Irish folk song, but there's definitely an Irish kind of flair to it. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. Track 10, The Silhouette, I would say is the most theatrical sounding song to it. You can almost picture this play or this production going on, on stage while they're singing this song. You can almost see it kind of being acted out in front of you. So that was really cool. And then it finishes strong with track 11, Still Enough, and track 12, Avalon. It really encapsulates, everything that has come before it and really kind of ends on a great note, an epic note. And like I said, just closes out the album really well. And like I said, this bad boy comes in at just over an hour, but it really goes by quickly. There's a lot of variety here, and to be honest, a little more variety than I expected because so far we've only known Fellowship based off of their original EP and all of the singles that they've released. So, it was kind of difficult to judge. Are we going to get a full album that just kind of has this same or very similar sound, which we do, but with variety mixed in? They prove that there is a lot more to them than just this, maybe streamlined, uh, joyous, magical sound. They definitely have a lot more in their repertoire than maybe initially that they've led on. So really, really great. And again, I have to commend them for their themes, for their positive attitude, and that they capture that joy, that uplifting spirit, that people struggle with various things, especially mentally. People don't always let on what they are feeling inside, and they kind of capture that in this album and let you know that it's all right, that it's all right to wonder, if you're worthy, or, if you can conquer certain things. They're kind of there with you, and they encourage you to just keep on going, because yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are capable of immense things you don't even know that you're capable of. And they do all of this through power metal. And it's just great because, when you think power metal, you tend to think of genre or music that's almost larger than life. And they've really capitalized on that here, and made it personal, but also relevant, and also what's the word I'm looking for? Relatable. So really, really cool. And again, I love that they included Hearts Upon the Hill here, because that's one of my favorite. It's really got a nice peppiness to it. So I was thoroughly impressed. They do all of this, but they also still leave some room for growth, which is really cool, because again, this is their debut full-length album here, folks, and they have, uh, when I say they've hit the ground running, I mean they've hit the ground running. They've already kind of uh, mastered who they are, who they want to be, and what's next is just to keep fulfilling that, and to keep refining it over the years. So I really, really enjoyed this album. And like I said, anyone who is fans of Fellowship already, you'll love this. There's a lot to love. It's exactly what you were expecting and hoping for, and then some. So you will not be disappointed. And anybody who has not listened to Fellowship before, but they're power metal fans, or they'll love it. They'll love it because it's a very infectious album, very infectious sound, and it just sounds great. Like I said, the musicianship is top notch. The vocals are stellar. The lyrics are really solid, and they have really made their mark here with this album right off the rip. And I think they're immediately going to be cementing themselves within the power metal bands that are talked about. So yeah, really, really solid, really great stuff here. Um, I think I've described what to expect quite a bit. So you know how I like to say, if you're gonna give the album one chance, just one shot, you're like, Power Metal Ranger, tell me one song to listen to in order for me to decide if I want to hear the whole album or not. I would honestly say go with, I mean, you could pretty much go with any of the singles, but I'm inclined to say go with Oak and Ash, because I think that best encapsulates the sounds, the themes, and the vibes of the whole album. You get great guitar work, great vocals and lyrics, the positive, uplifting lyrics, and the music with that little bit of that magical flair that is going to become truly a Fellowship trademark, if you will. Um, kind of reminiscent of Twilight Force, and things like that. But again, they really still have their own style that separates them from Twilight Force and other bands of that style, of that power metal, adventure, magical, whimsical style. They've created their own little niche still within that. So really great stuff. There's not really any negatives I can think of. Listen to Oak and Ash, or better yet, just listen to the whole album. I really enjoyed it. It really is a great magical experience, and for power metal fans, this is going to be something that you're going to be adding into your rotation, into your discography, without a doubt. So that's really what I got to say about it. It's Fellowship with the Saberlight Chronicles. This bad boy comes out July 15th. So yeah, be ready for it. Look forward to it and check it out as soon as it drops. And that's what I got for you. Let me know in the comments down below once you've all heard it, what you think of it. How excited are you for this album? And again, I give you the Power Metal Ranger guarantee that if you're excited for this album, if you've loved all the singles and the EP that have come before it, you will not be disappointed whatsoever. So that's what I got for y'all today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all next time. Ranger, out.